the next thing we have to look at is bivariant analysis. Now, when we are talking about bivariant analysis, we are actually trying to visualize two columns, okay, at once. We are trying to visualize two columns at once, all right? So let's just go ahead and turn this to a markdown. So the next thing we have to do is let's go ahead and view our columns so we know what we are working on. Okay. Now, as you can see, we have our columns right here. All right. So now let's say we want to visualize total cost, okay, by room type. Okay. Now you see that the total cost is a numerical column, while the room type is a categorical column. Okay. So we can actually visualize this using bar charts. All right. But before we visualize this, the first thing we have to do is we have to group room type, okay, by total cost and also calculate the total cost per each room type. Okay. That means we group total cost, okay, by room type, okay, and also sum the total cost of each room type. All right. So to do that, let's go ahead and say group by room type and sum total cost. Okay. So first we declare a variable and let's call this variable total cost by room type. Okay. And let's say this would be equals to df dot group by. Now, some people will be wondering why are we using df? Okay. Remember that df is our original data frame. All right. We cannot use numpos or catcos because numpos, we are trying to visualize a categorical data and a numerical data. So catcos contains only our categorical data, while numpos contains only our numerical data. Okay, so for us to capture the both columns, we actually have to make use of the original data frame, which is actually our DF. All right, now DF then group by. All right, so what we have to do here is we are grouping by room type. Remember, okay, then we have to close this. Okay, then the next thing we have to do is calculating the total cost, the sum of total cost. Okay, so this will be total cost dot sum. Okay, this will be total cost dot sum. Okay, dot reset underscore index. Set underscore index. Okay. So the next thing we have to do is we have to go ahead and create our bar chart. Create bar chart. So the first step in creating our bar chart is actually setting our figure size. Okay. Now to set figure size, let's say plt dot figure plt.figure, then we open and say peak size, okay, is equals to 8. Let's put it at 8 by 6. Okay. Then we have successfully set our fixed size. Okay. So the next thing we have to do now is go ahead and plot bar charts. All right. Plot, okay, now, plot, plot bar charts. All right. So now to plot our bar charts, we use the plt dot bar. Okay. So let's say plt dot bar. Okay. Now remember, we are plotting the bar chart for total cost and room type. All right. And we have already declared a variable here where we actually grouped total cost by room type and also calculated the sum of total cost for each room type. So what we have to do is we just have to go here and copy and paste this here. Okay. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to write a code for the room type. Okay. To do that, we open a list. Okay. Then we write room underscore type. Okay. Then we also create for total cost. We open another copy this, then we'll open another list and close it here. Then we'll say total cost, say total cost, okay? Then next thing we have to do is go ahead and customize our bar chart. Like we can add color. Okay, so let's say color is equals to, let's use sky blue. Okay, then we can also add edge color. This is not necessary, but I just like adding it just in case. So you can see this is equals to black. Okay, so that is all we need to do for that. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we can go ahead and actually create a title for this and also assign our X label and Y label. All right. Now to do that, let's go ahead and say title bar chart title. Okay. Bar chart title. Bar chart title. Okay. So this would be plt.title. Plt.title. Okay. So let's call the title room cost, or let's say total cost by room cost. Total cost. Okay, yeah, actually, total cost. Okay, total cost by room type. All right. So the next thing we can do is go ahead and create our label. Okay, we can go ahead and create our label. So let's say label. Okay. So to do that, we can say plt dot x label. Okay. So this is for our x axis. So let's just call this room type. Okay. Room, okay, I said room type. All right. So for the y-axis, plt dot y label. So let's just call this total cost. Total cost. Okay. Then for what else do we have to do? We just have to maybe add our aesthetics, okay? But these are not really necessary. We can add our aesthetics and our layout tightening, but these are not necessary. But let's just go ahead and do it. Let's say plt dot aesthetics, okay? So rotation, let's set it to 45. Okay, so this actually helps the readability of the this actually helps the readability of the diagram. All right. So the next thing we have to do is let's do plt dot height layout. Okay. And we also plt dot flow. So let's go ahead and visualize this and see. Okay, this should be equals to. It should be colors, not color. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. Line 9. That's on. Okay, so let's go ahead and see where that problem is actually coming from. On the same line 9. Okay, so plt dot bar. Okay, total calls by room type. Okay, that's correct. Then room type, comma. Okay, total calls by room type. Okay, total calls by room type. This is closed. This is closed. Okay, comma. Okay, colors equals to sky blue. Okay, so I think this is where the problem is. Okay, so let's run this again. So let's go ahead and figure that out. It was never closed. All right. So this is us declaring our variable. Okay. Then we group by our room type. This here is closed. Okay. Then this is total cost. Okay. Now I think the problem is from here. We are supposed to close this. Okay. Now let's go ahead and run this. Okay. See if it works. Okay. Didn't still work. It is a lot of colors. Okay, let's just go ahead and view this code from the beginning to actually see what the problem could be. Color, color. So we actually finally figured that out. It was just an X. Okay, so it's to be color, not colors. Okay, so this is it. So as you can see, we have actually successfully visualized our total cost by room type. Okay, so as you can see, the most expensive room they have is the interior, which is as high as over 400,000. Okay, which is as high as over 400,000. All right. So we can actually go ahead and write a story for this, but to actually cut time, let's just go ahead to make another visual. So the next thing I want us to look at is chipboard, okay, by room type, chipboard expenses. But before then, let's just go ahead and pour our columns. Here we go. We are going to look at chipboard expenses by room type. Okay, so now to do this, we are also going to do similar thing, okay, we did up here. So we can actually just copy this code here, okay, and just bring it down here, okay. So all we just need to do is just tweak it a little bit. Just move this up, okay. So here we can just go by room type and sum chipboard expenses, all right. So by So here we can just call it chipboard expenses, sorry, by room type. This is actually too long. So let's just say chipboard expenses, say chip expenses, room type, make it a bit shorter. Okay. So we go by room type, okay. Then check the sum of chipboard expenses. To avoid error, let's just copy this from here, paste it. Okay, so that's it. So just copy this. Then we'll replace it here. Place it here, the room type. Replace it here. And let's call this, let's copy this here and replace this here. Okay. So color, instead of using sky blue, I just use green. Just use green. Okay. Each color can remain the same. So total shipboard expenses by room type. Then this can be chipboard expenses, chipboard expenses. So let's go ahead and run this and see what we have. So as you can see, we have actually successfully visualized the shipboard expenses. Okay. So as you can see, the site with the highest shipboard expenses is interior. So it actually makes sense why it actually has the highest total cost. There are a lot of insights you can draw from these data sets. Okay. So once you just look at the data sets, you can actually decide what insights you want to actually draw from it and go ahead and create the visual. Okay. Now let's say we want to create another visual that shows room cost, okay, and room type. Okay. So let's just go ahead and say room costs by room type. Okay. So like we have always done, we are going to group by room type, then calculate the cost, the sum cost of room costs. Okay. Now just similar code. All we have to do is go here, copy this, then bring it down here. So here we are going to be summing room costs. Okay. Then we can simply call this room cost. Okay, room type. So room type, then going to room cost. Copy this here and can bring this down here. Okay, then figure size can be left the same. Okay, then this needs to be copied, then replace it with this here. Okay, then replace this with this. Okay, then copy this here, replace this with this. Color we can use orange. We can use orange. So we can say room costs by room type. Room costs by room type. So here we can just say room cost. Room cost. So let's just go ahead and run this to see. So as you can see, we have actually successfully visualized room cost by room type. So this is the room type, okay? So as you can see that the most expensive room is actually balcony, okay? Now, this can actually draw a question of if balcony is the most expensive room, okay, then why is interior having the total cost? Okay, so a lot of things can contribute to this. As you can see that over here now, balcony interior actually has sorry. So as you can see here now, interior actually has the highest shipboard expenses. Okay, regardless that it is not the most expensive room, okay, by room cost, it actually has the highest shipboard expenses. Okay, so a room can be cheap but has a very expensive shipboard expenses and other expenses that the customer needs to pay that will actually make it to have a higher total cost compared to the the most expensive room. Okay, so this is actually how you draw insights, okay, from your data sets. Okay, so the next thing we can actually look at, we can also decide to calculate the average customer satisfaction, okay, for each category. All right, now remember that when we are talking about category, we actually have two categories, which is the travel again and not travel again. And when we plotted the bar chart, we found out that the travel again has about 50.7%, while the not travel again have about 49.3%. Now, what we are trying to do now here is we want to calculate the average customer satisfaction for each category. Okay. Now, to do that, let's copy this to the same code so we can actually paste it here. Okay. So this can actually be, so let's call this calculating the average customer satisfaction for both groups. Okay, for both groups. So here we are going to group by would you travel again, okay, and calculate the mean customer satisfaction, okay, average. All right. So to do that, we say we are going to group by would you travel again, travel again, okay, calculate and calculate the mean of So before doing that, let's just go ahead and show our columns. Let's say df dot columns, so we know what we are working on. Okay, so customer satisfaction average. Okay, so this is actually what we are working with. Customer calculating the mean, okay, of customer satisfaction average. Okay, now to do that, just like this, we have to declare a variable. All right, we have to declare a variable. So let's just call the variable travel travel again, okay, by customer average satisfaction. Okay. Now remember, in this situation, we are going to group by travel again. Okay. So we have to replace this with this that says travel again. Okay. Then we are calculating the average of this. Okay. So we go here, we copy it and paste it. Okay. So this dot mean, we have to change it to this dot sum, we have to update it to dot mean. So, okay. So the next thing we have to do is figure size. We can leave it the same. Okay. Then the next thing we have to do is copy this. Okay. Then we come over here and paste it. Okay. Then over here, we say this will be this will be travel again. Okay, so we copy travel again and put it right here. Okay, then we come here and also copy this variable. Then we'll paste this variable right here. Okay, then the next thing we have to do is we also go here and copy this. Okay, then we'll paste it right here. Okay, so we just have to update the color to, let's update the color to sky blue. Okay, let's update the color to sky blue. All right, the edge color can be left the same. Okay, so the title, so let's just call the title average customer satisfaction. Average customer satisfaction. Okay, so let's just call the title average customer satisfaction by travel again. Average customer satisfaction satisfaction by travel again. Okay, so this should be, so let's call this travel again. Okay, call this travel again. Then let's call this average customer satisfaction. Average customer satisfaction. Okay, so now let's go ahead and run this code and see what we have. Okay. So as you can see now, we have actually successfully visualized this. Okay. Now, as you can see that this is actually showing us that the the average customer satisfaction, okay, for travel again, which is yes, okay, is higher than the average customer satisfaction for no. Okay. So this is actually a good thing for the company. This is actually a very, very good thing for the company. So we can actually go ahead and write a story for this, but because of we are trying to make this video shorter, we will not be doing that. All right. So the next thing we are going to be looking at is multivariate analysis.